Martin County attracts all types of travelers, from sunseekers and daredevils to fashionistas, fishing fanatics, even lovebirds searching for a romantic retreat. This under-the-radar slice of paradise is best known for our natural wonders, uncrowded beaches, and charming downtown districts. But this Treasure Coast destination is full of hidden gems just waiting to be explored. In this series, we'll introduce you to some of the people that make our timeless escape such a special place. So come along as we show you how to plan a vacation you'll never forget. This is the Memory Makers of Martin County. Welcome back to another episode of the Memory Makers of Martin County. I'm your host, Ian Centrone, and today we are at the Stuart Heritage Museum with a very special guest, Alice L. Luckhardt. Alice, so nice to see you.
Good morning.
Alice, you wear so many different hats. You are a writer, a researcher, a historian, a genealogist, a local celebrity, really, and you work with the Stuart Heritage Museum. So what is your role with the museum, and can you tell us a little bit more about your responsibility here?
Well, I'm on the board of directors. There are 11 of us, and we meet once a month and we make decisions of what's going to happen. You know, something that we need to add, something we need to change, whatever. We have the final say, the board of directors. And I can make suggestions, I can do other things around here. I've also served as hostess for many times. We have people that are board members, meet and greet the public too. So they're not just seeing, say, another tour guide, but they're also seeing the board members.
I wanted to ask you, in terms of this building, a lot of people recognize the iconic red exterior, but before this was the Stuart Heritage Museum, what was this building's purpose in Stuart?
Okay, it started off July 1901, and it was built by George Parks. He wanted a store right here in the early wilderness, we'll call it, because that was early, 1901. And most people had been getting stuff off of boats, that would come up the Indian River. But stores were now starting to be here, and he wanted a general merchandise store. So he built this, and this main part we're standing in was the main original portion of the store. And he grew over the years very quickly, especially as the population increased. He increased his store. He was popular with not only the natives that lived here, but also the American native Indians that lived out by Indiantown. They would literally come in every 6 weeks or so, buy goods, but not with money, by exchanging goods and products with the merchant. And George Parks was one of the merchants that they dealt with. So it went like that for many years. He changed some of his merchandise over the years, but it was usually general merchandise, including oil. People could come here if they needed a barrel of oil, and he could provide that. And he kept doing his work here and being very important in the community, served with the city commission, and not till an unfortunate fire. He was dealing with some oil in the back, and it's just the friction caused a spark and a fire, and he burned. And that was 1943, so we lost George Parks then. And his family tried to run it for a few years, but it wasn't the same, And so it was sold then, it becomes the Stuart Feed Store. Now that's a name a lot of people do recognize. We do have that name besides George Parks on the outside. So the Stuart Feed Store, and just like it sounds, they provided goods and products for the farmer, for the rancher, for the gardener. So it wasn't the general household merchandise like George Parks had been done. And that stayed like that for many years. And then eventually by 1988, the store came up for sale, who had owned it then, and the city says, we don't want to lose this. We don't want someone to buy it and tear it down. So they purchased this building, and they still own it to this day. And the idea came up, well, let's make a museum out of this, We don't make it a store, we'll make it a museum.
You have the alumni section over here, the Native American display, you have original photography and yearbooks. So there really is so much to see depending what you're interested in.
These are items that were used here in Martin County.
So do you want to take us around and kind of show us some of your favorite different displays throughout the museum?
Yes.
All right.
Let's start over here. This is the soda fountain that was right down the street at the Stuart drugstore, and had been a soda fountain, which served ice cream and Coke and floats, for decades. Everybody went to the Stuart drugstore. Well, one day, someone noticed that this was sitting out there by the curb, and they go, wait a minute, that's out on the curb. So they went in and talked to the people there, And they said, oh no, we're going to throw it away. Can we have it? And so they said, sure. So we got a group of men to haul it down here.
Can you explain where we are right now?
This is one of the favorite spots that everybody loves to see. Even if they didn't go to school here, maybe their grandfather did. And so they want to look up their grandfather, what they looked like back in high school. So here are the yearbooks that we've collected over the years.
Oh, wow.
Now, the first yearbook didn't come out till 1926, so we can't go back any farther than that.
Sure.
But they still love to go through this, if anybody they knew, a family friend or whatever, and look up about them, or teachers that their family knew, so because the teacher pictures are in here. But as you see, we have loads of things that have been donated, not only photographs, but memorabilia items that they had in school, the footballs that were done, the bells from some of the schools.
All right, so we are here now with Mary Walton Jones, who is the director of the Stuart Heritage Museum. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, you're very welcome. We always love to have visitors to the museum. Well, as you come in, you will walk into the Seminole display. The Seminole Indians were not a tribe. Seminole simply means runaway. And we have some wonderful displays. The diorama of the Indian village, everybody loves that. The little kids are fascinated by it. And then we have a whole section of other Seminole things, including the 4 Hutchinson paintings up on the wall, and it's very, very interesting to a lot of people. Next over here we have the train section that was made years ago and delivered to the museum, and it's very fascinating. It shows Stuart as it was, and it's very, very interesting. A lot of the buildings are gone now. We are still here, and this is the house next door that's still here. The rest of it is all gone, but the tracks are right where they've always been, the railroad tracks.
So there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this sneak peek of the Stuart Heritage Museum, but we just scratched the surface. There is literally so much more to see, to do, to learn about. So the next time you are in Stuart, please come by, check out the Stuart Heritage Museum. It's open daily. You can find their hours posted online, and I guarantee you're gonna leave learning something new. Thanks again for tuning in, and join us next time for our next episode of The Memory Makers of Martin County.